My name is Ncube. I'm the designer or creative director, as I prefer, of this brand.
I'm Mandy Newman. I am the business developer of Vintage Zionist.
I am from Zimbabwe. That is where I grew up, and I came to this country, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, and like there's like economic refugees, stuff like that coming to the country. I was more of a creative and fashion refugee. Just wanted to go into a place where I could express myself with the population that gets it.
I'm from Johannesburg, born and bred. I met Oscar very randomly one afternoon in Braamfontein. He had a little store. He had literally just started the Vintage Zionist brand, and from the minute I laid my eyes on the brand, I knew that there was something special about the brand. And I'll never forget, I said to him, I bought 2 items from him, and I turned around and I said to him, you and I are going to do something one day. And from that moment, Oscar and I were in communication. And then it took about 3-4 months for us to sit down and form a partnership. I study teaching, actually, which is very interesting, but my passion always lay with clothing. I feel like every day should be a fashion show. Like you should, I think that you portray yourself with the way with what you wear and how you put it together. And I've always loved fashion. So I am trained to be a teacher, but now I'm in the fashion business.
And then Oscar?
Oscar's just dressing himself.
Can't help himself.
Did you study design? If not, then where did you teach yourself?
I did not study fashion design at all. I studied interior design. Then I went into fashion because the pace suits me. Changes faster, moves faster. 3 months, 6 months change. 3 months, 6 months change. In interior design, it takes like forever for a trend to phase out and for something else to come in. And it's slow. And also must add that there were financial issues, that led me to do what I could.
Yeah.
And fashion is something that can allow you to express yourself with little money.
Yeah.
I think my studies have inspired my work with Vintage Zionist in so many different ways. I think also just dealing with people. I think it's very important in an industry like this to be patient, to be understanding of your client. So I think studying to be a teacher it kind of teaches you to deal with people's problems, actually.
Yeah, well, I think interior design taught me not to be afraid of, for instance, like working with different textiles and fabrics that would be associated with homeware, like leather, for example. So you find like there's a lot of designers who are not afraid, but they're a bit apprehensive about using leather, because it's so expensive, and am I going to put so much money into this kind of fabric, and I'm not able to push it commercially, and then you have all that money tied up into that garment. And also it helped me be more scrappy, so as in just using anything and anything to actually create a garment.
And that's something Oscar's very good at. He's taking something and giving it rebirth.
And also not having background in fashion. I think automatically helps me think different and do things differently, which is important in fashion.
We always seem to be 3.5 years, 4 years, going on 4 years?
Yeah, I think it's going on 4 years now,
4 years.
but somewhere around 3.5.
That's how old we are.
Okay, and then
So I think the biggest lesson I've learned is to understand your partner's points of view and just understand that people are different, and that I think difference in people in business is actually really good. I think people that have a lot of differences work better together. Yeah, what have you learned?
I've learned that, I don't know if I've learned, but it's like something you know, but you almost like always
experienced it.
the realization of it becomes deeper and deeper of how hard it is and how rewarding it is, there's always this analogy of a new brand is like a new baby. You know, it's my baby, it's my little baby. And I've realized, having also kids, that it is actually like a baby, because a baby in its infancy needs like 100% attention
And care.
you know, to keep it alive, you know, and then as it grows, it starts to
Get its feet.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, but do
go
your
get
own
that water
stuff.
yourself,
Yeah.
you know. So that's, a brand is like that. It needs that care and attention to keep it alive, and as it grows, it starts to be able to take care of itself. And as entrepreneurs, you look for something else that will stress you even more, if that isn't stressing you enough
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. So I think our biggest milestones and achievements of Vintage Zionist, I think we've got a few. I don't think we've just got one. I think opening up our own store was something that we're very proud of and are still very proud of. I don't think many brands do open up a store in their first 2 years of forming their brand. I think participating in SA Fashion Week was something huge for us, and we got a lot of exposure. You asked? There's been a lot of cool things that have happened.
Yeah, but for me, I think that like the SA Fashion Week, that was
The top.
the top. But I didn't realize it at the time, you know, because you're just working, going, and everything was just like a blur. But after, and the feedback, actually you realize that what we've done, you know, has led to that point, and it's being received. And it's almost like a place of, it's like a, you know, like you're playing a video game and you get to the next stage. It felt like that, like, okay, this is another level, another stage.
I think what we didn't know about participating in the SA Fashion Week is the hours that was going to be put in. I mean, I think you had an idea, but I mean...
I think what we didn't know is, I think we didn't know anything.
Yeah.
You know,
I
we
think
just
so.
like, you know,
We just went with the flow.
Yeah,
basically.
sometimes life is about just
Taking those risks
doing
and
it.
doing
And
it.
as long as you do more right than wrong, you'll be fine. But
Yeah.
so we made a lot of mistakes. We didn't even know what an order form was,
Yeah.
or line sheet, or pricing and wholesale. Yes, we didn't know anything.
No, I'm saying, do we still know what
You
a
know,
line sheet
but
is?
yeah,
to
so
this
now,
day?
so now we just kind of like, you know, figured out. You ask other designers, you ask people to help you, you know, and then they help you.
Younger emerging brands, I think there's one thing that resonates with me very much is belief. I think you've got to believe in yourself, you've got to believe in your brand, and you've just got to be honest with yourself and with what you want to portray and put out there.
There's so many brands out there, so many people studying fashion now, and probably like hundreds and hundreds of kids graduating out of fashion school every year, just in South Africa alone, and they all aspire to have like a clothing brand, you know. So I think because I didn't have a fashion background or fashion. I didn't go through that system. So I think what's important is to be aware of how saturated the market is, and that will push you to be different and have a point of view that sets you apart. Because if you don't do that, very, 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 very slim chances of you making it in this industry. Business on its own is very difficult, any kind of business. And niching and narrowing it down to the fashion business is even harder, because it's not about the money, right? It's not about the money. If you go into fashion for money, you will not, you will not, you will not,
You will not. Sorry, you will not.
you will not be able to succeed
Yeah.
immediately. So you need to be happy. You have to have that love. So be different. Don't go for the money. Just go for a point of view that's different, and then
And believe.
believe from there.
Believe.
Believe.
Believe. You see that?
Yeah.
Believe.
Yeah.
With the heart even.
I think the support from the public for local brands is definitely growing year by year. You know, you've got an organisation like SA Fashion Week that is just pushing and pushing for South African brands, because in all honesty we have so many talented people in South Africa, be it fashion, be it music, be it arts. There are so many talented people in South Africa. So I think the consumer is getting a better understanding and a better look at SA brands, because there are markets out there. There's SA Fashion Week, there's social media. I think it's definitely changed from 10 years ago.
Yes, so there's more awareness of and more appreciation for, you know, in this world of like mass markets and like
Mass.
Yeah.
Moss. Moss is like those moss.
American
Yeah,
moss market.
moss.
So, you know, what am I saying?
You're saying they learn to appreciate.
Fast fashion, you know, we have so many retailers that just push out product, you know, like disposable fashion basically, and people are coming back down to the essence of craftsmanship and wanting something different and wanting something that's quality, that's not mass produced. So that in turn is actually helping designers get more noticed, and people are wanting to buy things that are like more finds, vintage finds, you know, like things that are special. So in that sense, that anti-globalization trend that's going on around the world is actually helping local fashion designers and locals actually earn a living from their talents. Yeah, so that's great. In South Africa, so I would love
South African brands.
I would love retailers, big retailers, to start supporting local brands, okay, and appreciate the pricing that comes with designer clothing.
No, I think that's actually very important, because we're not getting it made in China.
Yeah.
We're doing it here ourselves.
Yeah.
So there's obviously going to be a bigger price.
Yeah. So if they can respect the pricing and respect the margins that come with the
Just embrace
something
the
that's
talent.
designer made, you know, and then that way designers can actually find it more viable to push themselves in the fashion industry because it's lucrative. So if we have bigger chain stores appreciating local design and pricing it as such, that would be great, because then that translates to the customer who would appreciate it at that price and make it. It's more special. You can't bunch local designers together with products you get from China, because then we have to now start competing in terms of pricing. That does not help.
I would say also to see local designers have their own shops in big shopping centres. I mean, where do you see that? I mean, you're going to Sandton and you've got your likes of your H&M and your Zara and your Cotton On and your... Why not have a centre that, or just a shop actually, a really big shop that just stocks South African brands.
The next 5 years, what would be great is for if there was a fashion week.
Yeah.
If there was a fashion week that was like decentralized, like an African fashion week, because we have like SA Fashion Week and Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week that happens in South Africa. I think that Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week is the one that actually happens in Joburg and Cape Town and caters for the whole of Africa, I think. Like there's a lot of African designers that show there.
No, they also show in Ghana apparently.
Really?
Yeah, 'cause I was
So if they
just
can move
looking
it
at
around, like how the World Cup moves around.
Yeah.
So if they can move it around to other African countries and everyone sort of like, goes to that country and showcases, and maybe we can, because you can't build the fashion industry based on one country.
Yeah.
I actually would like to see South African brands more on my travels. I don't travel a lot, but it would be interesting and exciting that
It's like a cross-country.
cross-country thing. So you hop on a flight to, let's just say, New York City, and you walk past a South African branded shop. I mean, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
I mean, the talent here is the same level as the talent there, or maybe even better.
Yeah.
I mean, go and book a ticket to see a show in SA Fashion Week. You'll be blown away.
All
There.
the way up.
All the way up there.
They
We
want
see
the whole
vintage.
thing.
We see vintage artists all the way up there. We want to be, like I said, we want to be in New York. We want to be there.
We want a global wholesale
Yes.
business.
Yeah.
So still centralized in,
But this is our home.
Yeah.
in
Which
South
This is
Africa.
home.
But have an international retail network of wholesale.
Yeah.
We've got huge plans for this year. Online shop. Hopefully take Vintage Zionist on something cool like a traveling bus. What else do we have? Of course, red, please.
Yeah,
It's
just
so damn cool.
to festivals and
Festivals,
I
yeah.
Just take it around.
We just want to get the brand is out there, but we just want to get it out there
Expose the
even
philosophy.
more, because this brand, this Vintage Zionist brand, is a brand in South Africa like no other.
Yeah.
There's no brand like Vintage Zionist in South
Yeah.
Africa. Where do you go to a shop where you can just buy black clothing or clothing that's inspired by rock and roll?
Instagram. That's the best way to find us.
Yeah, because Instagram is our lookbook. So we hashtag Vintage Zionist.
True story, my team straight. Your team weak and your team fake. You shouldn't even speak in my team space. Paper chase, cause paper makes me go round the world, and that, son, is what my team makes. So I'ma go hard. Stop me if you can, cause I know that's your plan. So I'ma go God.